All right, on to concept 22.2. So here we are looking at statistics, and this is inference from representative samples. And inference means you can draw a conclusion about something. And what they're asking you to do is take the conclusions that somebody else has drawn, compare them against the data, and see if they're true or false. So let's start with the first question here. A representative sample of 60 students from a middle school was surveyed. Each student was asked to identify their favorite subject. The results of the survey are shown at the table to the right. So here we go. English had 12 students pick it, math had 16, science 10, history 8, PE 14. Obviously, math was going to win. We knew that ahead of time. PE is the favorite subject. Now I'm looking at question A or statement A. PE is the favorite subject of more students than any other subject. Well, you might think that students would pick that, but apparently not at this middle school, not according to this data. Math had 16, PE 14. So this statement would be false, because if this is a representative sample, and they're telling us that it is, if this is a representative sample, it's false. More students favor math over PE. There are more students who pick math as their favorite than pick PE. Second question. Twice as many students pick math compared to history. That's a true statement. How do I know it's true? Well, math equals 16. History equaled 8 students that picked it, and 8 times 2 is 16, so twice as much. 8, double it, you get 16. Finally, in a group of 300 students, it's expected that 48 would pick math as their favorite. Well, let's see. 16 picked math. 16 picked math out of 60. What would that be out of 300? I'm going to use this method, and there are several methods you could use to solve this, but I'm going to use the equivalent fraction method. I'm going to multiply by 5 over 5. Now I'm selecting 5 over 5 because I know that 60 times 5 is 300. 6 times 5 is 30, so 60 times 5 is 300. Now I need to check and see what's 16 times 5. Well, I know what it's not. I know it's not 48 because that's 16 times 3. But let's just go out here and see. 16 times 5. 5 times 6 is 30. Carry the 3. 5 times 1 is 5. And 3 makes 80. 80 students out of 300 would pick math, not 48 students. So this is false. It should be 80, not 80. Not 48. All right, so you've seen the first part of this. If you got them all right, great. Scroll to the next and take a look. In fact, scroll to the end of the video and check the answers. If you didn't get them all right, though, go back, look at what you did, see if you can figure out. If you need to watch some more videos, remember, this concept showed up on the week 22 test, the week 23 test, and the week 24 test. So you can always go back and review those. Then check your work on the bottom section before you look at the answers. All right, we're ready to do the second part now. So here we go. Once again, we're surveying middle school students, and they're telling us, this is important, they're telling us this is a representative sample. So we don't have to wonder that. They're telling us that's the case. They sampled 50 students, and they surveyed them about their favorite color, and they put all of that information into the table you see on the right. So 8 students selected red as their favorite, 4 selected orange, 16 selected yellow, Blue was the favorite of 10, and green was selected by 12 as their favorite color. So we have 6 questions to go through. First, red is the favorite color of 16% of the students. That is a true statement. I know it's true because 8 out of 50 selected red as their favorite. Percent is out of 100, and 8 out of 50 would be 16 out of 100. Question 2, yellow is the favorite of 16. That's false. That is a false statement, and the reason it's a false statement, the error that they made was they took this 16 right here and made it 16%, but it's not 16%, it's 16 out of 50. Percent is always out of 100. So if I looked at 16 out of 50 and compared that out of 100, I would get 32, which would be 32% selecting yellow. Letter C, 1/4 the number that picked yellow picked orange. So if we take that and maybe change the wording just a little bit, here's what they're asking. Is orange 1/4 of yellow? Remember, sometimes these questions, the hardest part is reading the question. And if that's the case, then you need to take the time to rephrase it for yourself. So is the orange 1/4 of the yellow? Is 4 1/4 of 16? And the answer to that is yes, 4 is 1/4 of 16. So in this case, it is true. Twice as many students at the school pick yellow compared to red. All right, so we're doing the same sort of thing again. Is 16 twice 8? And the answer to that is yes. 16, that's the yellow. 8, that's the red. The answer to that is yes. So this statement is true. In a group of 180 students, it's expected 48 would pick yellow. So we need to figure out if yellow was the selection of 16 out of 50, would that equal 48 out of 180? And I know the answer to that is no. And the reason I know it is 16 times 3 is 48. 50 times 3 is not 180. So there are several ways you could solve this problem. One of the most straightforward is to just say, if I took this, because remember, I always need to be able to multiply when I want to create a new fraction here. I need to be able to multiply by a form of the number 1. Since 16 times 3 makes 48, 50 times 3 would have to equal the bottom, which would be 150, not 180. So this statement is false. Finally, in a group of 200 students, it's expected 24 would pick green. So here's what we know. We know that green was the selection of 12 out of 50. We're now doing 200 students. So what do we multiply 50 by to get 200? We multiply by 4, so we have 4 over 4. That is our big 1 as we do our equivalent fractions. We could also cross multiply and see if it's true, but this seems to work more quickly. 5 times 4 is 200. What's 12 times 4? Well, yes, 12 times 4 is 48. Since 12 times 4 is 48, and they're saying 24 students, this is once again a false statement. And if you wanted to prove this, was 48, not 24, you would do 50 times 48, and you'd see if that was equal to 12 times 200. Let's actually grab a calculator and check this. 50 times 48 is 2,400. Clear the calculator out here. And 12 times 200 is 2,400. So it works for 48. It would not work for 24. Okay, there you go. You are ready now. If you understood all that, you're ready to take the week 22.2 intervention test. If you still need a little more work, go back and review some of those other tests that I mentioned, weeks 22, 23, and 24, and look this over before you come to take the test.